Hey guys, tonight we're heading somewhere ancient and deeply unwell. Before maps had names for it, this land was already trying to kill everything that touched it. The animals were too big, the bugs were too bold, and the trees, they had rules. This isn't survival. It's prehistoric Australia, and it's absolute nightmare fuel. So, before you get too cozy, take a second to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy this strange little corner of quiet storytelling. And drop a comment with where you're listening from and what time it is for you. It's strangely comforting to know who else is drifting off with us around the world. Now get comfortable, let the day melt away, and we'll drift back together into the quiet corners of the past. You wake up barefoot on prehistoric dirt. The air smells like eucalyptus, heat stroke, and something watching you. It's hot. Not summer hot. Not campfire hot. But the kind of heat that comes from a sky that's been personally offended by your existence. The sun doesn't rise. It glares. No clouds, no breeze. Just the dry hiss of wind pushing dust across the cracked ground, like it's trying to erase your footprints before you even know who you are. You blink. The trees nearby aren't trees. They're ghosts of trees. Skeletal, twisted, and spiked with bark that looks like it wants to taste blood. One of them drips something that might be sap, or venom, or a warning. You try to sit up. Bad idea. Your palms land in something sharp. Not rock. Not twig. A thorn-long, curved, black as dried blood, lodged perfectly into the soft part of your thumb like it was designed by a sadist botanist. You yank it out with a hiss, and it leaves behind a sting that doesn't fade. The ground underneath you is a collage of baked clay, dead leaves, and beetles that don't scurry when you move. They stare, like they're waiting to see if you'll die slow enough to be worth snacking on. You squint into the brush. Everything is too quiet, which is wrong, because you're in Australia. Which means if you're not hearing something trying to kill you, it's probably already too close. There's a rustle to your right. You freeze. Then, like a nightmare with feathers, a bird, if you can even call it, that lurches out from behind a bush. It's taller than you. Its eyes are small and black and full of old violence. Its beak clicks once. You stare. It stares. Then it turns and walks away. That's not mercy. That's disinterest. You are not worth the calories. Not yet. You stumble to your feet, legs wobbling like you were born 5 minutes ago, which honestly wouldn't be surprising. Your clothes are a patchwork of hide and regret. You have no shoes, no tools, no phone. Just a dull ache behind your eyes, and a gnawing sense that everything in this place wants to eat, sting, bite, burn, or bleed you. The landscape opens up a head-low scrub, curling smoke trees, a distant ridge that might be safer than here but probably isn't. Every plant looks defensive. Some bristle when you pass. One has leaves shaped like daggers and smells like turpentine and bad dreams. You don't know what's edible. You barely know what's not actively hostile. You grab a berry from a nearby bush and immediately regret it. It tastes like soap and fire. Your throat goes numb. You spit it out and keep moving. You are now learning the first rule of prehistoric Australia. Trust nothing, touch nothing, and definitely don't snack. Behind you, something screams. It's high-pitched, furious, and wet-sounding. You don't look back. Whatever made that noise is either already eating something or wants you to come closer. You do not oblige. By midday, you are sweating through your skin like a sponge in a furnace. Your lips are cracked. Your stomach has given up on asking for food and is now just sulking. You pass a tree with peeling bark and think about shade. You step toward it. That's when you notice the web. Thick, roped, as wide as your shoulders. In the center, a spider the size of a teacup. Its legs twitch once. Then again, you step back. The shade is hers now. You keep moving, A shallow creek glistens ahead like salvation. You drop to your knees and reach for the water. It's clear, cool, tempting, and probably lethal, but thirst wins. You drink. It tastes like heat and minerals and distant consequences. You don't die, not right away. By nightfall, your skin is sunburnt, your legs are scraped, and your nerves feel like overused wires. The sky darkens into a purplish black. Stars bloom overhead like ice and ink, and the noises return. Low snarls, high chirps, something skittering, something dragging, a chorus of ancient teeth in the grass. You find a patch of dirt that doesn't look cursed and sit, hugging your knees, eyes scanning shadows. The air cools, but the tension doesn't. You are not alone. You never were. Every breeze feels like breath. Every twig crack is a countdown. Welcome to prehistoric Australia. You've survived one day, which means the real nightmare is just beginning. Your first step lands near a hole in the ground, barely the size of a coin, perfectly round, with a lid made of silk and dirt. At first, you think it's nothing. A burrow, a crack, a forgotten root. Then it opens, slowly, precisely, like a door being politely knocked on from the inside. You blink. Something blinks back. 2 black eyes, then 4 more. Then 2 thick, hairy legs emerge and rest gently on the edge of the hole like a creature peeking out to check the weather. The legs are as long as your fingers, as wide as your fear. The body follows. It moves with the patience of something that knows you won't get far. A trapdoor spider, not the little kind, the prehistoric kind, the kind that could mug a frog. You step back, heart thudding, trying not to breathe too loudly. It watches. It doesn't move, just stares. You break eye contact. Mistake. It scurries forward fast, precise, almost silent. It stops 2 inches from your foot. You don't scream. Not yet. Not until it lifts one leg, then another, like it's about to climb you like a tree with anxiety issues. Then you scream. Not a horror movie scream, not a dignified yelp. A raw, soul-wrung sound that echoes off the dry trees and alerts the rest of the ecosystem that dinner is both present and unarmed. The spider does not care. It blinks again, 8 cold eyes blinking like shutter sand. Then casually, it turns and vanishes back into its trapdoor, as if your panic was a mild inconvenience. You stare at the hole, breathless. You do not step near it again. You do not step anywhere near anything again. The ground is alive, and it wants you slow and still. You move on, walking on the balls of your feet, like the dirt might explode. It kind of does. A few feet ahead, something launches itself from a tuft of grass. Not big, just fast. A blur of legs. Another spider. This one doesn't wait for you to blink. It charges. You flail backwards, trip over a root, land hard, and feel something crunch beneath your elbow. You pray it was a stick. It wasn't. Now there's a smear of legs under your arm, and the spider you startled is climbing the tree beside you with the self-assurance of a creature that has venom and 0 boundaries. Your skin itches, not from bites, from paranoia. Every tickle is a maybe. Every breeze could be an ambush. The grass shifts near your ankle. A different spider, thin as wire, darts between your toes and disappears into a hole that wasn't there a second ago. You are now aware that you are in spider country. Not modern spider country, where most of them are content to wait in corners. This is ancestral spider territory, a sacred domain where evolution gave up on subtlety and just handed out venom like candy. You crouch, hands on your knees, scanning the ground like a condemned man searching for landmines. That's when you realize your leg is bleeding. A thin, shallow scratch just above the ankle. You don't remember getting it. You don't know who gave it to you. It doesn't hurt. Yet. You squint at it. There's something in the wound, two small punctures, close together, almost delicate. Your pulse spikes. You tell yourself it's nothing. A thorn, a scrape, a lizard with sharp knees. But the skin around it is turning red, fast. The kind of red that looks like it's thinking about purple. You sit down, heart hammering, and try not to cry. The only water nearby is in your eyes. The wound itches, then it burns, then it stops. That's somehow worse. A minute passes, then 5. You're sweating, maybe from the heat, maybe from the fear. Your vision swims a little, not bad, just enough to notice the horizon is breathing. You lean back against a tree, and it moans. Not a real moan, bark shifting, but it sounds too human, too alive. You get up. You walk, slowly, carefully. The sun is still overhead, but the light feels sharp, like it's watching you through a magnifying glass. The next time you step, it's into a web, not a thin strand, a full faceful. You gag, you claw, you wipe your mouth with your arm. There's silk on your tongue. You spit, sputter, stumble. And the web owner? Nowhere to be seen, which is exactly what you're afraid of. You find a patch of rock bare, smooth, and miraculously spiderless and sit. You exhale. You count your legs. Still 2. No extras hitching a ride. For now. You close your eyes, just for a second. The trapdoor clicks open again. You are immediately too delicious for this ecosystem. You don't even get a chance to settle into your skin before the hunger finds you. It's everywhere. In the trees, in the grass, in the buzzing haze of the air. It's not just the heat that prickles your neck, it's attention. Dozens of eyes, all blinking at different speeds, all deciding whether your soft, sweaty flesh is worth the trouble. The answer is yes. Always yes. You try to move quietly. It doesn't help. Your foot crunches something dry, a twig maybe, or a skull. Hard to say. Something shifts in the bushes. A slow, coiling movement that sends a ripple through the leaves like the whole plant is nervous. You stop, you stare, and then you see it low to the ground, pattern like melted bronze, tongue flicking the air like it's tasting your resume. A snake. Not a normal one. This one's thick, heavy. Like it eats small marsupials for breakfast and saves the leftovers in case a human blunders by. You take a step back. It doesn't move. You take another. It still doesn't move. That's when you realize it's not afraid of you. It's just deciding how hungry it is. You take one more step, and the snake finally turns, sliding into the underbrush without urgency. You'd feel relieved, but your relief is immediately canceled by the thing that just landed on your shoulder. It's buzzing, fast, loud, angry. You slap it. Too late. It's already stabbed you through the skin. You swat again, and the insect bounces off your palm like it's wearing armor. It circles, screams a tiny mosquito profanity, and dives again. You run. You don't run far. The underbrush thickens. Every step is another gamble. You push through a curtain of ferns and emerge into a clearing full of dragonflies. Not the cute kind. These are prehistoric, the size of dinner plates. Their wings shimmer like oil spills, and their eyes are compound nightmares. They hover in place, watching you, their legs dangling like they're trying to remember how many fingers humans have and whether they taste like chicken. You duck and move fast, swatting at nothing, slapping your neck, scratching your calves, already covered in bites from bugs that didn't even bother introducing themselves. One of them lands on your hand. It's a tick, the size of a raisin. You scream. It doesn't care. You flick it off, and it bounces once before vanishing into the leaf litter like it has a calendar full of other victims to attend to. You reach a dry patch of ground. Breathe. Catch your balance. You think you're safe. That's the second mistake. The first was existing. You lean against a tree. Bad tree. Ants. Big ones. They pour out like a faucet of hate. Up your arm. Into your shirt. You flail. Stripping layers like shame doesn't matter. One of them bites your stomach. You yelp and sprint again, half-dressed, red-eyed, and emotionally unstable. At some point, you trip. You hit the ground with a thud, face full of dust, mouth full of grit. You lie there, panting. Something moves nearby. Something slow. You turn your head and see a lizard 2 feet long, covered in scales like cracked leather. It watches you with the calm of something that's not hungry now but could be later. It blinks. You don't. Then it flicks out a blue tongue, just once, like a taste test. You crawl backward. It doesn't follow. Not because it's afraid, but because you're clearly not worth the effort today. You sit up, hands trembling, arms welted, legs itchy, heart hammering like it's trying to escape your ribcage. The forest hums around you, not peacefully, but like a dinner table right before the main course walks in. You are not the apex predator here. You are meat. Unarmored, uninformed, inconveniently tall meat. You try to wipe your face, but your hand is covered in mosquito guts. You wipe it on your thigh. Your thigh is bleeding. From where? Doesn't matter. Somewhere nearby, a cicada starts screeching, then another, then a chorus. They scream together like an air raid siren for the insect world. You don't know what it means, but it can't be good. You try to stand. Your legs wobble, your neck itches, your foot is swollen, and you're pretty sure one of your ears has a passenger. You haven't even seen a mammal yet, and already, this place wants to break you down into calories and compost. This isn't an ecosystem. It's a buffet, and unfortunately, you're the special. Your bed is a rock. Your blanket is heat. Your pillow bites. There's no shelter, no roof, no tent, not even a sad little lean-to made of sticks and dreams. Just a slab of sun-scorched stone beneath your spine, and the kind of heat that doesn't feel like weather anymore. It feels personal, vindictive. Like the sky is trying to cook you from the outside in, one sweaty layer at a time. You've tried to sleep. That was the plan. That was the hope. You even picked a nice flat rock well, flatter than most, only a few jagged ridges, and one questionable stain and you told yourself this was fine. Survivable. Just close your eyes, breathe. Pretend you're somewhere else. You lasted 12 seconds. Then the ants found you. Not the polite kind. These are prehistoric ants. Beefier, bolder. The kind that taste test your elbow before sending for reinforcements. They crawl up your leg like you're a picnic table. One gets under your tunic, another between your toes. You leap up, swatting and stomping, and in doing so, step directly on something that was already trying to bite you. A spider? A scorpion? You don't know. You don't check. You just run 5 steps, trip over a root, and land on your new bed. Dirt, grit, and shattered eucalyptus leaves. This time, you don't even bother pretending you'll sleep. You just lie there, twitching, eyes open, staring up at a sky that offers no comfort and less mercy. The stars should be beautiful, but they aren't. They just hang there, judging. Somewhere off to your right, something hoots, or howls, or coughs with malicious intent. You pull your arms tighter around your chest, like that will help. You shift. Bad idea. Something cracks under your hip. A stick? No. Something with legs. Many legs. It skitters off into the night, but not before leaving behind a faint burning itch that starts behind your knee and spreads like gossip. You slap the area. The feeling doesn't go away. You slap again. Still there. You resign yourself to the possibility that you are now partially inhabited. Your face is sticky. Your mouth is dry. Your tongue feels like it's been lightly sandpapered. You sit up, reach for your water pouch, Remember, you don't have one, and just sort of make a noise that lands somewhere between a whimper and a curse. Something buzzes by your ear. You flinch. It buzzes again, louder. Then again, and this time it doesn't pass. It stops. On you. You slap your ear. Hard. The buzzing stops. Victory? No. Now your ear feels full, not blocked occupied. You claw at it, fingers frantic, half expecting to pull out a beetle or a tiny snake. Nothing comes out. The feeling doesn't go away. Something is nesting in your ear. You scream without volume, mouth wide open, soundless, because the only thing louder than panic is the realization that no one, absolutely no one, is coming to help you. The air around you is thick, not with fog, with movement, little rustlings, the quiet pop of leaves shifting, claws on bark, wings that don't flap so much as thrum. You are surrounded, and none of it is interested in cuddling. You curl into a ball on your side, find the one spot on the ground that isn't a root or a fire ant mound, and try to convince your body that this counts as rest. It doesn't. The rock is unforgiving. The heat hasn't gone away. It's just gotten sneakier, slipping under your skin, hiding in the creases of your elbows, soaking into your scalp. You are sweating from places you didn't know had glands. Your back is damp. Your neck is crusty. Your hands feel swollen. You itch in patterns. One spot flares, then another. It's like your nervous system is playing connect the dots, using mosquito bites and despair. You close your eyes again, even though there's no point. The night won't save you. Sleep won't find you. You don't belong here. Not to this world, not to this dirt. You're just another soft thing dropped into the wrong place at the wrong time. And the outback, it doesn't forgive. It doesn't care. It just waits. Quiet. Smoldering. Sharp. Something shifts behind your head. The pillow bites again. You try to rest against a tree. That's the first mistake. It's never just a tree here. It's a test, and you're failing it. The bark scrapes your back like sandpaper dipped in resentment. You shift to get comfortable and immediately regret it. Something sticky clings to your elbow. It looks like sap, until your skin starts to burn. Not dramatic. Not at first, just a slow, steady sting, like the tree is thinking it over, then deciding it wants you gone. You pull away, but the resin doesn't let go. It stretches like spite, stringy and iridescent, clinging to you like you owe it something. You wipe it off with your hand. Now your hand burns too. You find a leaf to clean yourself. Bad call. The leaf's edge slices your thumb like a paper cut engineered by malice. You stare at the blood, then at the leaf. It's from a plant that apparently thinks razors are a fun evolutionary flex. You toss the leaf and look around. Every plant here is built for war. Spikes, thorns, serrated edges. One tree has bark that peels in strips, like it's molting, revealing flesh-colored wood beneath, as if it's wearing skin that never fit quite right. Another has branches that dangle low, deceptively soft, with fruit that looks edible until you get close enough to smell it, and it smells like regret. Sweet, sour, a little like rotting meat, and a lot like a trap. There's a bush that looks like a good hiding spot. Soft, dense, inviting, until you brush it, and instantly feel dozens of tiny needles embedding into your forearm. They don't sting, not immediately. That's the trick. You have about 30 seconds to get far, far away before the real pain begins. You fail that deadline. It starts with itching, then swelling, then the kind of nerve pain that makes you bite your own lip just to give your brain something else to scream about. You slap your arm, rub dirt on it, cry a little. Nothing helps. The bush rustles slightly in the breeze, pleased with itself. You try not to touch anything else. You fail again. Your next step puts your shin against a low-hanging vine. It wraps lightly, innocently, then tightens, slowly, deliberately, like it's waiting to see if you'll notice. When you do, it's too late. The vine has tiny hooks, not sharp enough to slice, but barbed just enough to cling to skin and hold on like it's falling in love. You have to tear yourself free. It takes skin with it. The vine dangles after you like it's offended you left so soon. You stumble into open space. No trees, no bushes, just short, wiry grass, and one strange-looking stump. You approach it. It looks out of place, too smooth, too pale. Then it breathes. You jump back. The stump is actually the exposed root of a much larger tree you hadn't noticed. A tree with no leaves, no branches, just spindly limbs reaching skyward like the skeletal hands of something long dead and still angry about it. Then you hear the name in your head, whispered like a memory someone else had. Suicide tree. You don't know if it's real. You don't want to know. But you do know that if a tree has a name like that, it didn't earn it with a sunny disposition. The stories you vaguely recall: seeds that can stop a heart, bark that leaches toxins, pollen that poisons slowly and beautifully, start to feel less like myths and more like warnings you're too late to follow. You back away, careful not to breathe too deeply. The wind shifts, carries something sweet and bitter. Your eyes water, your tongue tingles. A headache blooms behind your forehead like a flower opening for no one. Even the shade here is suspect. It moves wrong. Too cold where it should be warm, too still when the wind blows. You sit beneath one tree and swear its branches creak inward, just a little, like it's measuring you. You're not prey here. Prey has a place in the food chain. You're something else. A mistake. An intruder. A trespasser in a forest that doesn't want guests. This isn't a habitat. It's a curse in photosynthesis. Every leaf is a blade. Every bloom is bait. Every tree is patient. And the roots? They're everywhere, twisting just beneath the surface, waiting for one misstep, because even the trees want you gone. The ground shudders. That's not thunder. You freeze mid-step. Every instinct in your body suddenly has the same opinion. Don't move. Not a muscle, not even a blink. The silence afterward isn't peaceful, it's loaded, pressurized. Like the land itself is holding its breath and waiting to see who gets eaten first. Then it comes again, a low, guttural rumble, followed by something worse, a rhythm, distant but deliberate. Heavy, wet thuds slapping against soil that's too dry to welcome it. You tell yourself it's a storm, but no part of the sky agrees. It's clear, hot, blue, too blue. The sound's getting closer. Not fast, just steady, confident. The kind of confidence that doesn't come from size alone, but from centuries of killing everything that doubted it. You drop to a crouch, an inch toward a boulder. It's hot to the touch, but you welcome the burn better that than whatever's stomping toward your general life expectancy. You peek over the edge. You wish you hadn't. It lumbers into view, and for a moment your brain won't name it. Not because it's unfamiliar, but because every name you know feels inadequate. It looks like a crocodile. Kind of. Same jagged grin. Same armored skin, but taller, upright, with legs that don't crawl but walk. Long, hoof-tipped legs that lift its belly off the ground like it has somewhere to be, and no time for puddles. Its tail isn't dragging, it's balancing, counterweighting, letting the whole creature move. Quincana. That's the name that finally surfaces, not from memory, but from the raw, ancestral terror humming in your marrow. It's extinct now, supposedly. Comforting thought, if you weren't watching one right now, sniffing the air like it knows you exist and has questions about your sodium content. It's 10 feet long, easy, built like a freight train dipped in obsidian. Its scales gleam in the sunlight, each one edged like chipped glass. Its eyes don't blink. They don't need to. They just fixate. Its nostrils flare once, twice, then it turns, slowly, like it has all day to murder you. You try not to breathe. It doesn't help. The wind betrays you. A tiny gust sends your scent forward like a resignation letter to the food chain. The quincana stops, sniffs again, then opens its mouth. Its teeth aren't crocodile teeth. Crocs crush. This thing slices. Each tooth is laterally compressed and serrated like a steak knife drafted into war. Theropod teeth. Dinosaur teeth. Teeth meant for carving through flesh and muscle like butter. You're not made of butter, but you're close enough. It steps forward, one hoofed toe at a time. You back up, slowly, quietly. Then you tripover nothing, just the kind of betrayal only your own foot can deliver. The sound echoes. A pebble skitters. The quincana lifts its head, and then it moves. Fast. Terrifyingly fast. Not the panicked, flailing speed of prey. No, this is practiced, calculated. Legs pumping, tail swinging with mechanical precision. It sprints. You run. Branches whip your face. Rocks batter your soles. You don't care. You're running like your life depends on it because, to be clear, it absolutely does. You glance back. It's gaining. Not wildly, just inevitably, like gravity or tax season. You spot a dry creek bed and vault into it. You scramble through the sand, duck under an overhang, and wedge yourself between two roots. It won't fit, you tell yourself. It's too big, too heavy. It slides down the embankment with a grunt. You can hear it sniffing. Its claws scrape against stone. You hold your breath until your vision blurs. Finally, it stops. A huff, a growl, then the rhythmic beat of retreating steps. You wait. 5 minutes, 10, an eternity. When you finally crawl out, your hands are shaking, your legs numb, your ears ringing. You just outran a crocodile, a land crocodile, with hooves that can sprint. This isn't a jungle, it's an arms race with teeth, and today you barely survived the opening act. You see the rock and run for it like it's salvation. It's not, but you don't know that yet. To your panicked little mammal brain, it looks perfect, solid, wide enough to shield your whole body, low enough to duck behind, ancient and immovable, like the bones of the earth itself. Or so you convince yourself as you dive down into the dust, press your spine against its rough surface, and let out a breath you can't afford to lose. You are trembling, bleeding, grateful, and deeply, stupidly wrong. The rock breathes, not loudly, not theatrically, just the faintest movement like something beneath it just sighed. You freeze. Every cell in your body starts whispering the same thing. Get up now, get away. But you don't. You want to believe the rock just shifted. Maybe the wind, maybe heat distortion, anything but what it really was. Then you hear the scrape, not stone against stone, not an animal on leaves. This sound is deeper, wetter, something organic sliding against something harder. It reminds you of a tongue dragging across teeth, not chewing, just checking. Your hand inches backward. You feel the edge of the rock, but it's not stone. It's warm, slightly damp. Your fingers trace what should be a jagged crack only. It's smooth, curved, like the edge of a lid, like something could open. You jerk your hand away, too late. The ground twitches. Not an earthquake, not a tremor, a muscle spasm. The rock heaves upward just a few inches, and the illusion is gone. It was never a rock, it was a shell. And now it's opening. You scramble to your feet, but the creature is faster. It unfolds like a nightmare in stop motion first. A massive gaping maw with serrated ridges where lips should be, then limbs. Too many. clawed, plated, designed not for elegance or grace, but for ambush and dismemberment. The creature isn't looking at you. It doesn't have to. It knows where you are. A giant turtle? No. Turtles don't have teeth. This one does. Its head snakes out longer than it should be, like a neck unspooling from the deep paw stand. Its mouth opens impossibly wide. The jawline curves like a guillotine, and you understand now. This wasn't just a hiding place. This was a trap, and you laid yourself in it. You leap sideways, not fast enough. The tip of your foot grazes those ridged gums, and pain lances through your ankle like fire given orders. You fall hard. The air leaves your lungs. The world spins. But you crawl. You don't look back. Looking back is for people with options. Behind you, the thing bellows. It's not a roar, not even a growl, just a sick, throaty exhale that smells like rot and deep time. Something that's eaten meat for thousands of years and never needed to evolve past wait and snap. You dive into a thicket of spiked brush. It cuts you, shreds your arms, rips your clothing. Good. Let it. Pain is nothing compared to the idea of going back. You keep crawling until the smell fades, until the breathing stops, until the sounds of the forest return. Eventually, you collapse under a tree with bark like razors. You don't care. You're shaking too hard to feel anything anyway. The rock didn't have teeth. The world did. And now you know, nothing here is what it seems. Not the trees, not the soil, not even the things that pretend to be dead. Everything hides something worse, including the rocks. Especially the rocks. You hear it before you see it. A rhythmic thump. Not loud, just heavy. Deliberate. Like something big that doesn't need to hurry. Something that's been fed, but wouldn't mind a snack. The sound stops. You stop too. You've learned the rules of this place. If something stops walking, it's either deciding to kill you or waiting for you to step where it already planned to kill you. You drop low behind a fallen log and hold your breath. Then you smell it. Rot, heat, the coppery tang of old blood, and something muskier beneath it, like dried spit and scorched fur. It slithers into your nose and tells your brain something awful is nearby. Your eyes flick to the underbrush, and that's when you see it. Megalania. Calling it a lizard is like calling a tank a car. Technically correct, but emotionally dishonest. This thing is massive, 20 feet long, maybe more. Its hide is a patchwork of scars and scales, matte and dark and speckled like the forest floor. Perfect camouflage for a creature that doesn't need stealth, but enjoys the game anyway. It steps into the clearing, tail dragging lazily, tongue flicking. Its head sways from side to side like it's listening with something older than ears. You pray it doesn't see you. It does. Its eyes lock onto yours. Not with hunger worse, with interest. Megalania doesn't just kill to eat. It stalks, observes. Like it's curious about what screaming sounds like in different species. And it's venomous, which you didn't think lizards could be. But Australia never got that memo. Its bite isn't just pain. It's paperwork. It's infection, fever, hallucination. Your blood stops clotting. Your thoughts get strange. You begin to feel your heartbeat in places it shouldn't be. And then you die, slowly, while Megalania watches from the shade, satisfied that it made art today. It takes a step closer. You don't move. Not because you're smart, but because your body has decided that dying still is somehow preferable to dying fast. It lowers its head and sniffs the air again. Its tongue flicks out long, forked, tasting your fear. You can see its teeth now. Not rows of them like a shark. No, these are hooked, recurved, designed not to slice, but to latch, to hold, to keep. It takes another step, then Then it pauses, just inches from your hiding place. It could reach you. It knows it could, but it doesn't. Instead, it blinks, once, slowly, like it's letting you know that this isn't hunger, this is hobby. It opens its mouth, just a little, not to bite, just enough to show you the inside, the dark purple gums, the saliva strings, the rows of serrated teeth stained with whatever was alive yesterday. You want to look away. You can't. It's letting you imagine your own end. Then, just as suddenly as it came, it backs away. One step, then two. It doesn't run, doesn't panic, just strolls back into the trees like it lost interest, or like it's saving you for later. You collapse. You don't mean to. Your legs just quit. Your lungs forget how to work. You're shaking so hard you bite your tongue trying to stop it. The blood tastes better than your next thought. It wasn't hungry. Megalania doesn't chase the weak. It waits. It follows. And when you finally stop checking behind you, it will remember. Because in a land where every bite is venom, every shadow is a jaw, and even the trees hate you, the worst thing isn't what wants you dead. It's what enjoys the process. You sprint toward the tree like it's salvation. It looks sturdy, tall. Anything taller than Megalania feels like a good idea. You don't know what's chasing you anymore, just that you need to be up. Your hands slap the trunk, rough and hot under the sun, and you start pulling yourself up. The bark tears your skin, but you welcome it. Pain means movement. Movement means height. Height might mean survival. You get one leg hooked over a low branch, one breath, one shaky victory. Then the branch growls. You freeze, knee hooked, heart pounding. You tell yourself it was the wind, or the creak of wood. But there it is, again low, throaty, and just behind your right ear. You look up. Two yellow eyes blink back at you from the branch you thought was empty. And then the mouth opens. Not wide, just enough to reveal a row of stained, peg-like teeth. Too many for a herbivore. Too few for comfort. It lunges. You let go on instinct, arms flailing, body crashing back to the ground. The thing a gray, matted furball the size of a toddler, with rage, issues drops after you. It hits the dirt hard and scampers back up the trunk in a flash, hissing like it's disappointed the fall didn't kill you. That wasn't a koala. That was a thylacolio's weird little cousin, a drop bear prototype. And it's not the only thing in this tree, because the branches are moving again, but they're not furry this time. They're smooth, scaled, silent, a rope uncoiling in reverse. A snake, nosnakes, plural. You stare up in disbelief as two, maybe three long bodies begin weaving down the limbs above. They aren't fast. They don't need to be. Each one is long enough to wrap around your whole torso and forget where it started. One of them lifts its head and flicks its tongue. It's not asking questions. It's measuring you. You back up slowly. Then you step on something soft. It shrieks. A small marsupial, maybe a bandicoot, maybe something invented just to punish your ankle bolts from under your foot, and vanishes into the brush. Your heart nearly exits through your rib cage. But it's not the marsupial that's the problem. It's what it startles. The tree erupts. Not from the roots, from the trunk. Something inside it comes alive. You hadn't noticed the small slit near the base. Why would you? It looked like a knot, a patch of shadow, but now it's open. And now it's blinking. A monitor lizard the size of a bicycle tire slides halfway out of the hollow, eyes focused, tongue sampling the panic in your sweat. You don't even have time to give it a name. You just run. Back into the sun, away from the tree, away from the things that live on it, in it, as it. You're done climbing. You'll take your chances with the dirt. Branches crack above you as you flee. Leaves shift. Something watches. You don't turn around to see if it follows. You already know it does. You collapse in a clearing minutes later, lungs shredded, arms cut, legs refusing to do anything useful. You stare at the sky. It doesn't help. Even the clouds look like predators. And then it hits you. There is no safe direction here. Not up, not down, not even still. The trees hold marsupials that bite, reptiles that squeeze, birds that drop rocks to crack skulls. Spiders the size of soup bowls live under the bark. Some trees bleed acid. Some host ants that boil out like lava if you breathe too close. And one is rumored to whisper, not in words, just in regret. You wanted height. You got a lesson. In prehistoric Australia, the trees don't offer safety. They offer options for how you'd like to die. You sprint from the trees, lungs ragged, skin torn, adrenaline burning like acid in your chest. You don't know what's behind you anymore. Doesn't matter. You've seen enough fangs today. You want distance, shade, water, anything but claws and bark and blinking rocks. Then you hear it. A trickle. A sound you haven't heard since you arrived in this sun-cooked purgatory. Water. Fresh, running water. Your throat clenches. Your legs move faster. You break through the scrub, and there it is, shimmering, shallow, winding through a bed of soft red clay like a ribbon of mercy. A creek. You fall to your knees on the bank, cup your hands, drink. It's warm, mineral heavy, tastes faintly of rust and roots. You don't care. You drink again. Splash your face. Wash the blood off your hands. For a fleeting idiot second, you believe you've made it. Survived the gauntlet. Outwitted the teeth and toxins. You lean forward to dunk your whole head. And that's when you see it. Not in the water. Below it. A shape. Long. Pale. Thicker than your torso. Not moving. Not drifting. Just waiting. You freeze. Blink. And it's gone. You scramble backward from the edge, heart clawing its way into your throat. The water looks calm again, inviting. But now it feels like a window, not a surface, and something is staring through it. You crawl to higher ground, eyes fixed on the creek. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the surface breaks. Not a splash, a rise, a snout. Wide, flat, armored. It lifts out of the water like it's been sculpted there all along, followed by eyes, then the rest. Polymnarchus. Imagine a crocodile. Then imagine it got tired of waiting in swamps and decided to become a submarine. This thing isn't fast, but it doesn't need to be. It's patient. 30 feet of prehistoric muscle draped in armor-plated scales, gliding just below the surface like a loaded weapon. It opens its mouth, slowly, lovingly. Inside are teeth not meant for slashing, but piercing, cone-shaped, designed to hold, to clamp, to drag. You realize, too late, that this monster wasn't sleeping. It was tracking, letting you drink, letting you believe. It lunges, not at you. Not yet. It crashes sideways, jaws snapping shut on a bird that dared get too close. You didn't even see the bird. You only hear the bones crunch. The water goes red, then calm again. Polymnarchus doesn't care that you saw it. It's not embarrassed. It doesn't chase. It waits, because it knows. You'll get thirsty again. You'll come back. And next time, it won't need to remind you it's real. You back away from the creek, now tainted, now cursed. But the terror doesn't stop there. Because you remember the rumor, Sir Wood, if you were ancient enough, that there were others like it. Bigger, maybe, hungrier. Variants lost to time, but not to legend. And even if it's the only one, that's enough. Because it proves something horrible. The land was never the worst part of this place. The water is worse. Every pool is a lie. Every ripple, a grin. Every cool shadow on the bank could be the last thing you ever see. You don't swim here, you don't wade, you don't bathe. You thirst quietly. You rot slowly. And if you're lucky, you die somewhere dry. You see the drag mark before you see the creature. A long, perfect line cut through the mud, weaving between the shrubs like someone pulled a hose through the forest and forgot to rewind it. You stare at it. Something primal in your gut tries to speak up. You ignore it. You always do. Then you hear it. A sound that isn't wind, but breath. It comes slow, wet, like bellows filled with meat. You freeze. The drag mark is still fresh. The creature is still close. You glance around, expecting claws, scales, eyes, but there's nothing. Nothing you can see. So you step forward. The ground beneath you gives a little soft, as if something moved over it too recently. You crouch to inspect the soil and realize the moss isn't moss. It's skin, patterned, thick, and it's breathing. It uncoils. Not quickly, not defensively, just with purpose. Like it's tired of pretending. The coils unravel, revealing scale after scale, each one as wide as your palm, colored like ash and burnt grass. It keeps unfolding. 10 feet, 15, 20, more. Wanambi. You're not being hunted by a snake. You're being surrounded by one. A prehistoric constrictor that doesn't strike from trees or wait in water. It waits on land, camouflaged as shadow and root, until something warm and unlucky steps just a bit too close. You were that something. You back up. It doesn't react, just watches you with heat-sensing pits on its face and patience in its body. Then it moves. Not fast, just inevitable. You don't see the attack. You feel it. Pressure. Around your ribs, around your spine. Your arms pinned to your sides like a child swaddled by a god that doesn't love you. Your lungs rebel. You can't scream, can't gasp. Your vision goes pinhole. Wanambi doesn't bite to kill, doesn't need venom. It hugs, and the hug never ends. It tightens, little by little, each breath you fail to take giving it license to squeeze more. Blood stops. Bones begin to groan. The forest falls quiet, as if it respects the ceremony of your departure. Then the real horror begins, because you don't die from suffocation. You die from pressure. The blood can't reach your brain. Your heart pumps harder, trying to compensate. Capillaries burst in your eyes. Your tongue swells. Your eardrums rupture. And Wanambi just holds you like it's done this 1,000 times before, and finds no particular joy in it anymore. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is that it can't unhinge its jaw. Its mouth isn't made for swallowing prey whole like modern snakes. Its head is small, its jaw structure ancient. That should be a relief. It isn't, because instead of swallowing you, it shreds you. Teeth like needles rake across your skin. It doesn't devour. It peels, piece by piece. Your arm, your leg, your belly, not to kill faster, just because it must. And if by some cosmic oversight you manage to survive the first few minutes, if you're dropped, left behind, deemed too much effort, then you live with something worse. Memory, not just of the pain, but of the weight, of the coils that pinned your ribs, of the blood that couldn't scream its way through your skull, of the silence that filled your ears once your heart stopped pounding and started giving up. You crawl away eventually, bruised, broken, partially chewed. You make it to a tree that hasn't tried to kill you yet, and lie beneath it like a warning someone else forgot to write down. And somewhere behind you, deeper in the brush, the snake curls back into itself, waiting, not because it's hungry, because this is what it does. You hear the buzzing long before you see anything. A dull, droning vibration, somewhere between a throat hum and a chainsaw warming up. It starts small, a single note hovering in the air like a bad idea. Then it multiplies. Layers, harmonies, an entire symphony of ancient wing beats. You don't move. You've learned not to. Movement draws attention. Warmth draws attention. Breathing draws attention. Unfortunately, you're doing all three. The first to arrive is the dragonfly, or what you think is a dragonfly, until it lands on a rock near your foot and you realize it's the size of your forearm. Its wings twitch with unsettling precision. Its eyes huge, faceted, unblinking stare directly into yours like it remembers a time when mammals didn't exist and preferred it that way. It lifts off again. Not away from you, just higher, circling, watching, as if it's not quite sure if you qualify as prey or competition or both. You inch backward and step on something. It crunches. You freeze. The buzzing stops. Then a new sound, softer, wetter, wrong, like a mop being dragged across gravel. You turn. It's not a branch. It's not a stick. It's moving, and it has too many legs. The centipede doesn't rush. It doesn't need to. Each leg moves in perfect coordination, a ripple of malice segmented by armor plates and oily shine. It's a foot long at least, possibly more. The pincers are already open. You take a step back. It follows. The bite of a prehistoric centipede isn't instantly fatal, just unnecessary. The venom won't kill you, but it will invite every nerve in your leg to scream simultaneously while the rest of your body learns what it feels like to itch from the inside out. Swelling, burning, spasms, all part of the package. And if you're allergic, well, that's just the bonus round. You flinch, and that's the cue. The mosquitoes descend. You've never seen insects float like this before. It's not a swarm, it's an ambush. These aren't the whiny little brats of your modern world. These are prehistoric blood priests. They don't hover, they hunt. Built like hypodermic darts, twice the size of a thumbnail, with a proboscis engineered by a species that hated mammals from the moment mammals were invented. They don't just bite, they drill, through skin, through fabric, through your last shred of sanity. One lands on your cheek, you swat it. It leaves behind a welt the size of a walnut. Another dives for your neck. You slap again. Miss. You taste blood that isn't yours. You sprint. Bad idea. The heat welcomes your panic. The air gets thicker. The buzzing follows you like a memory you can't unhear. Dragonflies zip past your ears at 30 miles an hour. One clips your shoulder, feels like a punch. You trip. You land on a nest of something you can't name. It moves. It hisses. You roll. You're now partially covered in a thin webbing. Not quite a spider's web. Too thick. Too intentional. Your skin burns. Something stings the back of your neck. Something else bites the underside of your arm. You slap at everything. Nothing works. Everything flies. Even the air wants you gone. You collapse behind a fallen log, panting, bleeding, buzzing inside your own skull. Your hands shake. Your breath stutters. Your vision tunnels. And still, the sounds continue. Not distant. Not fading. Just waiting. Because out here, in Australia's forgotten lungs, you are the infection. And nature is administering the cure. It doesn't matter how fast you are. It doesn't matter how clever, or careful, or lucky. The insects were here first. They remember what came before you, and they never signed off on your arrival. So they sing. They sting. And they wait for you to stop squirming. The sneeze isn't loud, just sharp enough to remind your body it still exists. You wipe your nose on the back of your wrist, already coated in dirt, and that's when you hear it. A hiss. Not a warning. Not even angry. just a sound long, low, and disappointed. Like the land itself is fed up with your presence. You freeze. Of course you freeze. You've learned by now that movement here isn't freedom. It's bait. You glance around. Nothing. Just trees that bend the wrong way, and shadows that don't seem to follow the sun. You blink, and one of the shadows blinks back. It's in the tree. Not on it. In it. Coiled so tightly around the bark that its scales match the trunk gray, green, cracked with old age and quiet menace. It doesn't move, doesn't blink again. It's not hunting you. Not yet. It's just observing, as if it knows something you don't, which it does. You shuffle a few steps away, slow and silent, and the moment your heel touches sand, it shifts. The branch shivers. You don't look back. Now every step is a negotiation. The sand is soft, too soft. You sink slightly as you walk, and with each shift of weight, you imagine a fanged mouth beneath your feet, smiling. Because here, snakes aren't a rare surprise. They're the default setting. You pass a rock. It rattles. You tell yourself it's the wind. There is no wind. A twig snaps beside you. You flinch. Nothing there. You turn back to the path and there, right in front of you, curled but not hidden, thick, muscular, and entirely indifferent to your existence. At least for now. Its head rises, just slightly, not to strike, just to see you better. You don't move. It doesn't blink. Neither of you breathe. Its tongue flicks, once, twice, tasting you. You know what that means. You're already part of the ecosystem. It's cataloging you, logging your salt, your sweat, your fear, filing it away for future reference. Maybe you'll be food. Maybe just a curiosity. Either way, you're in the system now. The snake lowers its head. Not relaxed, just patient. Like it's saving you for later. You sidestep slowly, eyes locked to the ground now. Every stick could be a tail. Every patch of dirt could writhe. Even your thoughts start to coil, nervous and twitching. The grass rustles to your left. A blur of scales moves past your leg. Another to your right. You keep walking. You stop sneezing. Breathing is optional here. Eventually, you find a tree with a low branch, and the tired animal part of your brain thinks rest. You reach up and stop. Wrapped around the branch is another one, thinner but faster. Lined with a diamond pattern your retina barely catches before your brain shouts no. You step back. The branch doesn't move, but the eyes follow. Of course they do. Every snake in this nightmare has eyes made of still water, no shine, no soul. Just silent calculation. And none of them rattle. Not here. No warning. No kindness. No venomous generosity. Just teeth. You find a dry patch of earth and sit down, legs pulled close, arms around your knees, eyes scanning every inch of grass and bark like you're learning a new language made entirely of fear and patterns. You know they're watching. You know they're near. The only question is whether you'll dream of them, or if they'll dream of you first. The fire is pathetic. A few twigs, some shredded bark, a spark from rocks. You nearly broke your hands smashing together. Smoke curls upward, then sideways, then right back into your eyes, like it regrets being born. But it's yours. Your one defiant gesture in a world that has made it very clear you weren't invited. You crouch over it, cradling a crude wooden bowl of water, trying to make it hot enough to kill the things wriggling inside it. The water smells like pond rot and bad decisions, but at least it's wet. That's a luxury now. The flame crackles. You exhale, and that's when the first guest arrives. A beetle. You think. It's hard to tell. It might be a beetle's angry god. Shiny, chitinous, too many legs. It buzzes once, zips past your ear, and crashes directly into the fire. Sizzles, pops. The air fills with the smell of burned bug meat. Then you hear it. A low, rising hum. Another beetle comes, then 2, then 20. You swat one, and it leaves behind a smear the color of motor oil. Another one lands on your cheek and explodes into some kind of acidic goo that burns your skin like regret. Your fire isn't repelling them, it's calling them. You back away from the flame, bowl in hand, but now the water's catching embers. Floating ash kisses the surface. It smells better now, but only if you're into the scent of defeat. Then you hear the hiss. Not a snake this time. Worse. A shape emerges from the brush. Lizard. Big lizard. Long tail, claws like daggers. A tongue that flicks like it's counting your weaknesses. Goanna. 2 meters of muscle, curiosity, and prehistoric spite. It walks like it owns the dirt. Because it does. You're squatting in its front yard. It stops at the fire. Eyes the bowl. Eyes you. Decides both might be edible. Another one follows. Smaller. Probably hungrier. You throw a stick at them. The big one flinches, then licks the air. The little one climbs on a rock to get a better view of your demise. You clutch the water bowl like it's sacred. Then the big one charges. Not fast, just deliberate, like a bouncer at a club you don't belong in. You stumble backward, the bowl sloshing. The goanna pauses, sniffs the rim, and nudges the fire. A coal pops. The lizard doesn't blink. The bowl is snatched from your hands. You didn't even see the other one arrive. A third goanna, sneaky, like it knows your moves before you make them. It tips the bowl, spills the water, watches your last hope seep into the dirt. Your scream dies in your throat. Instead, you laugh. Just a puff of air and madness. Because of course this happened. Because fire means light, and light means attention, and attention means Australia notices you again. You turn back toward the fire. It's now ringed by movement. Ants. Moths. Something that looks like a walking fern with pincers. You sit down a few feet away, arms wrapped around your knees, rocking slightly. Your stomach growls. The goannas ignore it. Your hands tremble. The flame flickers. Something lands in your hair. You don't even swat it. The fire cracks again. A moment later, so does your resolve. You bury your face in your arms and pretend that blinking long enough will transport you back to a time before this place existed. Before things had claws. Before every living organism decided you were the softest thing in a hard ecosystem. But you don't get to leave. Not yet. You lit the flame. And now everything wants to see what else will burn. Night falls like a trap. Not a soft, starry blanket. Not the cool sigh of relief you were hoping for after a day spent dodging claws, teeth, and ego-crushing humiliation. No, this is a different kind of darkness. The kind that doesn't just cover you, it watches you. You sit near the remains of your fire, now a sulking pile of ash and half-glowing twigs. It coughs up one last breath of smoke, then dies, like even it has given up on you. At first it's quiet, that kind of fake quiet that cities never teach you to fear, the kind where your ears ring just enough to make you think you're alone. And then it starts. The clicks, the buzzes, the dry rustling of something that's not quite walking, but also not walking. You curl tighter. Under the only shelter you've got, a slab of bark, balanced between a rock and a prayer. The ground beneath you is equal parts dust, bug wings, and possibly feces from an animal you've never seen and never want to. You don't sleep. You listen. Something scrapes, then clicks. It's above you, or behind you, or both. You don't move. A moment later, a weight lands on your back. Not heavy, just confident. You freeze. It's crawling. Across your shoulder, down your spine, legs, Too many. The weight is wrong. It's not an insect. It's a thesis on why you should have stayed home. You breathe shallow. You clench your jaw. You wait. It stops, settles. You scream. You slap it off and fling yourself sideways, arms flailing like someone trying to fight gravity. You hit the dirt. Something under your palm crunches. Something else hisses. Then the buzzing begins. The night comes alive, not with songbirds or gentle moonlit cooing, with wings, with mandibles, with things that should not be able to fly, and yet do. You see a flash of iridescence, then another, then a dozen. Beetles, moths, something that looks like a praying mantis, but if it trained in prison, a centipede the length of your forearm skitters across the bark slab and disappears into your pack. You decide you don't need that pack anymore. You stumble into the open, swatting at air. You trip over something wet. Not water. Meat. You don't check what kind. Your foot sinks into a patch of earth that isn't earth. It moves. You leap back and hear the unmistakable click-click of mandibles folding in disappointment. You wipe your hands on your shirt. It smells like vinegar and panic. You look up, and there they are. Eyes. Not glowing. That would be merciful. Just reflecting. Pairs. Dozens. Low to the ground. High in the trees. Floating near the bushes. Watching. Everything in this ecosystem has night vision except you. You're the one blind mammal in a horror exhibit built by evolution and malice. You crouch, hands shaking, trying to stay still. You try to tell yourself stories. Stories about how night is peaceful. About how people have always found comfort in stars. But there are no stars. The sky is thick with smoke and clouds and flying teeth. You feel something near your ankle. A soft pressure. You don't look. You don't breathe. You just pray to whatever prehistoric deity is watching that you're not about to become the newest bloodstain on ancient sandstone. The pressure lifts. A few moments pass. Then a sound behind you. A wet one. You run. You don't plan. You don't see. You just run. Branches whip your face. Thorns tug at your skin. The wind offers no direction, only resistance. You fall once, twice. You don't care. Eventually, your legs give out. You collapse beside a fallen log and crawl underneath it, clutching your knees to your chest like they're the only part of you that still believes in tomorrow. The dark doesn't get better. It just slows. The buzzing fades. The eyes blink out. You're left with your heartbeat and the distant, rhythmic grunt of something enormous breathing nearby. You don't sleep. You just survive the hour. And then the next. Until the sky finally starts to lighten, and you realize something far worse. The things that stalk the night here, they don't go away when the sun comes up. They just get braver. You hear a growl. Not a dog, not a bear, not even a crocodile's slow hiss of intent. This is something stranger, something wrong. It's deep and rumbling, but broken at the edges, like a feline played backward on a warped record. You freeze. You're crouched near a cluster of bush ferns, licking the last traces of dew from a leaf like a desperate woodland raccoon. Your tongue is dry, your legs ache. Your brain has learned new shades of fear every hour since sunrise, but now it has nothing to compare this sound to. The growl happens again. This time, closer. You back into the brush and hold your breath. Your ribs protest, but your instincts have taken over. And your instincts are saying, whatever made that noise does not want to share the forest. Then the silence breaks. Something massive pushes through the undergrowth, not with the slow drag of a reptile, but the confident, rolling prowl of a predator with purpose. Then you see it. Sort of. A shadow first, then fur, then eyes that lock onto yours without blinking. It's like someone took the basic blueprint for a lion, got distracted halfway through, and let evolution doodle all over the rest. This is Thylacoleo, the marsupial lion. But it's not a lion, it's not a cat. It's a living contradiction with thumbs. Built like a pit bull in a bear's body, it moves like it knows gravity is optional. You try to run. Bad decision. It doesn't chase. Not at first. It watches you stumble over a log, smack your head on a branch, and flop into a ditch like a stunned fish. Then it follows, calm and unhurried. It's not worried about you escaping. It's just deciding which part of you to break first. You scramble into a hollowed-out tree trunk, heart slamming like it's trying to tunnel out of your chest. You hold your breath. You hold your breath too long. And then, silence. You dare to exhale. Big mistake. A claw longer than your fingers and just as articulate scrapes the outside of the trunk. Slow, gentle, like it's tracing the shape of your regret. Thylacoleo doesn't roar, it doesn't bark, it just breathes. You smell it before you see it. Musky, coppery, like wet coins and shredded fur. Then its face appears, upside down, peering into the hollow. Those eyes again. That not-cat smile. You flinch. It disappears. You wait. Seconds tick by. Then, minutes. Then, impossibly, it's gone. You don't trust it. You stay curled in that log until your muscles scream, until your bladder begs, until your mind begins to chew on itself. And then you crawl out. Slow, shaky. You make it 5 steps before you see it again. Not the lion. Its leftovers. A shredded wallaby, or what used to be one, torn in half like wet paper. A single bite mark through its spine. You didn't think a marsupial could bite like that. But Thylacoleo can. Paleontologists later give it the strongest bite force of any known mammal its size. Stronger than lions, stronger than leopards. It didn't need to chase its prey for long. It just needed one bite. One sickening surgical chomp through flesh, bone, and nerve. And if that didn't work, it had thumbs. Not metaphorical ones. Real semi-opposable thumbs on its forepaws, each bearing a giant retractable claw, sharp, curved, and unnervingly useful. It could slice. It could climb. It could hold on. And unlike cats, it liked caves. Dark places. Small places. Places where echoes bounce and screams stay trapped. You look around now and realize there are caves everywhere here. Shadows beneath rocks. Hollows behind trees. Places you could hide. Places something else already has. You sit down. You lean against a warm boulder. It purrs. You scream. You don't even remember running this time. Only the sound of claws thudding into soil behind you, and the realization that in this place, even the mammals are monsters. It starts with a rustle above you. Not a loud one, just a soft shuffle, like fingers brushing against bark. But it's too rhythmic, too deliberate. Not wind, not a bird. You glance up. You expect leaves, maybe a snake, maybe a branch about to fall. Instead, there's a face. Short snout, forward-facing eyes, muscles wrapped in fur like rope under velvet. It blinks once, slowly, like it's giving you time to realize you've made a fatal mistake. It's already upside down, already hanging, and it doesn't drop like a predator. It descends like a decision. This is Thylacoleo, again the marsupial lion, but it's not chasing this time. It's following, and it's not using the ground. It doesn't have to, because this thing climbs like it's angry at gravity, like the world was built vertically, and someone forgot to tell you. Your back hits a rock wall. You thought it was shelter, or maybe a good place to rest. It's neither. It's a ladder. You scramble, clawing at ledges, slipping on ancient dust and your own sweat. You think if you can just get high enough, maybe it'll give up. But Thylacoleo doesn't give up. It levels up. You glance down and there it is, not huffing, not sprinting, flowing up the cliffside, like a furry shadow wearing cleats and a vendetta. Its claws aren't just for slashing. They're for gripping, for anchoring, for reaching out and grabbing things that don't want to be grabbed. You've got about 20 seconds of lead. 17 now. You find a crack in the rock, a narrow slit, just wide enough to wedge into. You slide in, chest scraping stone, arms trembling. You wedge your foot against a jutting root. Your fingers dig into moss. You stop breathing. You hope. The next sound is the one you'll never forget. A tap, then another, then a scratch just outside the crevice. It's found you. It doesn't growl this time. It doesn't need to. Instead, one of those claws, the hooked one, the thumb one, curls around the edge of the rock like it's knocking politely, and then it pulls. You scream, but nothing moves. You scream again. The claw retreats. Then, the breathing starts. Just outside the slit in the stone, a rhythmic inhale, exhale, like it's timing you. Waiting for your next move. Calculating. Because this isn't just a predator. This is a strategist. A tactician. It doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It adapts. You wedge deeper into the crevice, eyes wide, praying to whatever ancient sky god might pity you. It waits. You wait. The sun begins to set, and then silence. You count to 30, then 60, then 200. No sound, no shadow, nothing. You edge out of the crack. You peek around the boulder. Nothing. You fall to your knees, shaking. Alive, barely. But then you hear it. Above you. It's on the boulder. Looking down. And now it jumps. Not like a cat. Not like a lion. Like something with intent. It lands beside you with a grunt and a spray of dust. You don't run. You can't run. You grab the nearest stick, useless, splintered, lighter than your will, to live, and you swing. It dodges, effortlessly. Because Thylacoleo didn't evolve to fight. It evolved to win. It dodges again, then it moves. One paw against your chest. Not claws. Not yet. Just pressure. It pins you, leans in. Its breath is warm. Its gaze, disappointed. Like you didn't even make it fun. Then, for some reason you'll never understand, it lets go. Just walks off, back into the trees, back into the world that it rules and you barely survive in. You sit there, stunned, until the stars blink into view, and you realize something terrible. It wasn't mercy. It was boredom. You find a stick. It's crooked. It's dry. It snaps a little just from you picking it up, but it's a stick. And you're desperate. You grip it like a sword, like a staff, like every heroic scene you've ever daydreamed in the safety of your childhood bedroom. Except this isn't childhood, and this isn't safe. This is Australia, 50,000 years ago, where evolution doesn't sleep, it hunts. And right now, so does something else. The trees are too quiet. The insects have gone still. You should notice that. But you're busy feeling brave. You've got your stick, and for the first time in hours, maybe days, you're not running. You're standing your ground. Bad choice. A bush rustles. You pivot like a gladiator crouched, tense, dramatic. Your stick trembles in your hand like it's not sure it wants to be part of this. Then something lunges. You don't even see it. Just teeth. Eyes. Movement. A blur with claws. You swing. It connects. Your stick breaks. Not in half. Into splinters. Into emotional failure. Into the echo of your own crushed hopes. The creature stumbles, only slightly inconvenienced. It looks at you like you just tried to insult its mother with a rubber chicken. Then it grins. You didn't know animals could do that. Now you do. You throw the remaining hilt of your stick at its face and run. But the problem with running in prehistoric Australia is that every direction is equally suicidal. Behind you is the thing that laughs at your stick. In front of you is whatever scared it into hiding before. You pick left. Why not? Left leads to a clearing, sunlit, peaceful, too peaceful. Your brain registers this half a second too late. The grass isn't grass. It's a snake. Correction, several snakes. They move like guilt. Fast, quiet, everywhere at once. You scream and jump over one, land near another, and manage to grab a rock this time. An upgrade from your tragic little twig. You hurl it. It bounces off a tree. You hurl another. It hits your own knee. You double over and crawl, swatting at vines that look suspiciously venomous, until you fall into a shallow creek. The water is not water. It's a soup of leeches and tadpoles with aspirations. One of them bites. You bite your tongue. This is not a fight. This is an audition for Prey of the Year. You crawl out soaked, limping, covered in mud and bug regrets. Your stick, remember the stick, is now floating downstream like a war veteran that saw too much. You hear something hiss behind you. You whirl and scream. It's a goanna, 7 feet of scaled disapproval, tongue flickering, eyes calculating, not venomous, probably, but fast and rude and deeply unimpressed by your performance so far. You reach for a branch. It snaps. You throw a handful of dirt. It blinks. You throw your sandal. It eats it. You run again. You try not to cry, but your tears are organizing a rebellion. Your legs are jelly. Your lungs are battery acid. Your mind is looping the same phrase again and again. Why did I think a stick was enough? Because in every story you've ever known, the stick works. The boy with the staff wins. The girl with the sword survives. The caveman with the club becomes king. But this isn't a story. This is Australia. And here, your stick is just a joke told between predators. Something they whisper to each other at night as they lick blood off their claws and wonder what part of you tastes like shame. You collapse beside a rock and stare up at the sky. It's blue, mockingly beautiful. Birds soar above you. You wonder if they're dangerous too. Probably. You pick up another stick. You sigh. It snaps in half. This one doesn't even wait for battle. It just gives up. Like it knows. Like it's tired too. And somewhere in the distance, something growls. You are not a warrior. You are not a survivor. You are a snack with ideas above your station. And the forest is laughing. Certainly. Here's the chapter. As requested. You hear a sound. It's not a roar, not a growl. It's a grunt. Slow, deep, like a cave clearing its throat. You freeze, because in Australia, even the peaceful noises mean violence. A bush rustles 30 paces ahead, leaves tremble. Then you see it. At first, you think it's a boulder, covered in fur, but then it snorts, and the boulder walks. It doesn't gallop. It doesn't charge. It just exists heavily, proudly, unapologetically. It's a wombat. Or, it was a wombat. Now it's Diprotodon, the largest marsupial to ever exist. A prehistoric monster with the body of a cave bear, the soul of a disgruntled landlord, and the personality of something that has never known fear. It sees you. It blinks. Then it keeps chewing. You're not even worth spitting out. 3 tons of indifference waddle slowly through the brush, like it pays rent here and you don't. Its back is broad, its shoulders thick enough to shrug off history, and its head is built for war. Short, blunt, engineered like a battering ram. The jaws alone could pulp saplings. You're not sure whether to run or offer it snacks. But it doesn't want your food. It wants space, and you're in it. You try to back away, slowly, carefully. Like maybe if you channel enough passive energy, the beast will sense your lack of threat and just move along. It does not. Instead, it turns, just slightly, adjusting its lumbering mass in your direction. There's no rage, no malice, just the quiet confidence of something that knows it can turn your entire skeletal system into gravel. It opens its mouth. You've never been afraid of molars before, but these are prehistoric grinders, fossilized engine blocks, and they don't chew, they erase. You wonder briefly what your femur sounds like under 11, 0 newtons of bite force, probably like celery, if celery screamed. The Diprotodon steps closer. You can feel the ground shift. The earth isn't used to carrying this kind of authority. You sidestep behind a tree. It follows, slowly, casually, because it's not chasing you, it's reminding you that this land doesn't belong to you. It never did. You consider climbing the tree. Then remember, this is Australia. The tree probably hates you too. So you stay still. And the Diprotodon stops, just a few feet away now, staring, breathing, blinking those heavy prehistoric lashes like it's debating whether or not to end your bloodline. Then it grunts, turns, and crushes a small log under its foot like it was made of balsa wood and bad decisions. It walks away. Just like that. Your entire existence evaluated, measured, and deemed not worth the effort. You exhale, but too loud. It pauses, looks over its shoulder. You freeze again, mid-breath, mid-thought, mid-regret. And then it pees. Gallons. Rivers. A prehistoric downpour that steams in the heat. It's a message, marking the land, reclaiming the soil, and in a weird way, reclaiming you too. Because now, your shoes smell like dominance. And Diprotodon, it keeps walking, unbothered, unrushed, like extinction is a choice it hasn't made yet, because this is its world. And you? You're just the side quest it chose to ignore. You take off running. Not because something's chasing you yet, but because that's what instinct tells you to do when the grass starts hissing and the rock next to you yawns. Survival in Australia isn't a strategy. It's a panic attack with legs. But your feet betray you immediately. They don't slap ground. They don't launch you forward. They sink. Right into a patch of ancient, swampy soil disguised as grass. The ground looks stable. It is not. It's a trap. You sink to your ankles in the first step, your knees by the second. This isn't mud. This is prehistoric custard. A squelching, sucking mess that smells like moldy hope and regret. You try to yank your foot free. The earth disagrees. Something slithers past your shin. You don't look. You're not ready to meet another local. You lurch forward, desperate for dry land, only to find a patch of ferns. They look friendly. Ferns are harmless, right? You slam your hand into the fronds and discover they are made of knives. Not metaphorically. These plants are engineered by eons of malice. The leaves have barbed spines. The spines have venom. The venom has opinions. You recoil, your hands bleeding. Your legs are still half swallowed by death pudding. You pivot again. To the left, where the grass looks safe. It's not. Because hidden in the grass is a hole. Not a deep hole. Just deep enough to ruin your life. You don't see it until your leg folds beneath you at a wrong angle, one that evolution didn't sign off on. Your body crumples. Your face smacks into a root. The root moves. It's not a root. It's something with a pulse. Something that growls low and lazy. Something that knows you're stuck, bleeding, and tastes like foreign meat. You scream. It doesn't care. Because everything in this ecosystem already wrote your obituary the moment you arrived. You drag yourself back, knees shredded, palms cut open by grass that fights back and collapse against a rock, not to rest, to strategize, to mourn your dignity. The rock is hot, burning hot, because in this era, the sun doesn't just shine 8 punishes. The air is thick with heat and dust and spores from plants that want you gone. Your sweat has nowhere to go. It clings to you like a shroud. You stare at your feet, covered in mud, plant juice, and something moving. Ants? Leeches? You don't ask. You just slap and hope. You try to stand. One foot works. The other doesn't. It's wrapped in something thorny. A vine? A snake? You don't have time to debate. You kick until it lets go. Something howls in the distance. Something else laughs. And then the mosquitoes arrive. Not bugs. Not nuisances. These are prehistoric syringes with wings. They land in swarms. They bite through cloth, through hair, through hope. You flail like a malfunctioning scarecrow. It doesn't help. They're joined by flies the size of ping-pong balls and gnats that travel in cloud formations. You try to inhale. You inhale wings. You fall again, breathless, itching, sinking deeper into the kind of terrain that has no bottom. You realize this isn't land. This is a slow-motion digestive tract designed by the earth to break you down before the predators even get their chance. And they're coming. The trees creak. The shadows move. A branch cracks behind you, too deliberate to be wind. You try to run again. You try to flee this cursed bog of teeth and mud and plants that scream in lowercase Latin. But your foot sinks. Again. Because this is Australia. And the ground doesn't want you here either. You hear it before you see it. A low, rhythmic boom that pulses through the dirt and into your spine. Your instincts think it's thunder. Your instincts are wrong. There's not a cloud in the sky. Just blue heat and the rising hum of terror. The boom comes again. Closer this time. You freeze a knot from logic. But because every mammal bone in your body suddenly remembers it's a squishy bag of meat, you turn, slowly, and there it is. The goris, a flightless bird standing taller than you, much taller. Its eyes are wide, unblinking. Its beak tapers into something cruel. It doesn't blink. It doesn't bob its head like some harmless ostrich. It just stares. This is not a bird. This is a problem wearing feathers. It steps forward. The boom you heard was its footfall. One leg moves, and the ground winces. Its chest rises like a war drum. Its claws curl in the dirt. And then it charges. No bluff, no warning. No time to weigh the ethics of thunder chickens. Just motion. You try to run, but you don't. Not well. Your body says flee. Your legs say maybe. You stumble into a eucalyptus shrub, which is both flammable and useless. The goris doesn't care. It accelerates. There's no flapping, no dramatic wingspan, just straight-line speed with prehistoric rage powering each stride. Its feet slam like falling anvils. Its clawed toes dig into the soil and launch it forward like a missile with knees. You veer left. It veers harder. It's not chasing. It's targeting. Your mind claws at old trivia, at half-remembered documentaries. Something about herbivores. Something about how this bird doesn't eat meat. That should be comforting. It's not. Because the goris isn't hungry. It's annoyed. And it solves its problems with trauma. You duck behind a rock. It slams into the boulder behind you, splintering it like stale bread. Pebbles fly. You fly to about 3 feet sideways, into a bush that reacts poorly to your existence. Your shoulder's bleeding. Your ear is ringing. You don't know where the bird went, which is worse. Then you hear it again. The boom. One step. Another. You crawl, not forward, down, into a crevice between two slabs of ancient stone. Your ribs scrape. Your dignity evacuates. And the Goris peers over. It tilts its head, curious, maybe calculating trajectory, maybe considering the ethics of violence. It pecks once, just once. A sharp, sudden strike that cracks the stone near your foot and sends shards skittering past your calf. You scream. It cocks its head again. You think you see a smirk. You lie still, play dead, not because it works, but because it's all you have left. The Goris stares, then finally steps back. Not out of mercy, just boredom. The bird stomps off, booming its way into the trees, into some other nightmare subplot that doesn't involve you. Not for now. You breathe, shallow, slow. You listen for feathers, for thunder footsteps, for a hint of a round two. Nothing. Just the dry chuckle of leaves in the wind and the faint, sarcastic rustle of a lizard watching you fail. You climb out of your rock coffin. Every limb protests. Every nerve screams. You made it. You're alive. And now you know what it feels like to be on the wrong end of a prehistoric poultry rampage. You limp forward. The path ahead looks quiet. You've learned enough by now to know that's not a good sign. You try to be brave. You remember that one survival documentary where the expert told you to wave your arms and make yourself look big. Animals respect size. They fear unpredictability. You are both of those things right now. So you stand tall, or as tall as a sleep-deprived, sun-stroked prehistoric time traveler can manage. You raise your arms like a scarecrow on a spiritual retreat. You make noise. Guttural. Awkward. Somewhere between a growl and a therapy cry. And across the clearing, the bird blinks. The Goris tilts its head, not in confusion, in judgment. Its eyes narrow. You think you see it squint. It steps forward. Okay, maybe you didn't wave right. You try again. Bigger, bolder. You throw in some jumping, which immediately feels like a mistake. You are now flailing like a car dealership balloon on fire. The Goris blinks again. Then it makes a sound. It's not a screech. It's not a caw. It's something older, deeper, like thunder having a bad dream. It echoes through the trees and straight into your colon. You freeze. The Goris doesn't. It charges. Again, like it's been waiting for an excuse to be offended. Its legs blur, its chest puffs, its claws dig deep into the dirt, launching half of the outback behind it as it sprints. You pivot. And by pivot, you mean fall sideways while windmilling your arms in what might generously be called a tactical stumble. It gains on you instantly. Of course it does. It's got legs like siege weapons and a grudge you can't reason with. You spot a fallen log. You leap over it, barely. The Goris doesn't leap. It pulverizes. The log explodes into a dozen jagged insults as it tramples through without slowing down. You scream. Not a brave scream, not even a coherent one, just vowels and shame. You scramble uphill. Bad choice. You're slower, clumsier, more visible. The bird loves it. Then, just as it closes the gape, you turn. Desperation breeds creativity. Or idiocy. Sometimes both. You lunge forward, scream, and throw a rock. It hits the Goris square in the chest. A pebble against a war drum. The Goris stops. The world stops. It looks down at the spot where the rock made contact, then back at you. It is now offended, no longer interested in territorial defense, no longer posturing. This is personal. The bird takes one slow step forward, then another. You take one slow step back, then sprint sideways. You slip, regain footing, slam your shin into a buried root, and keep going, hobbling now, You crash through dry brush, tearing your arms, nicking your knees. You hear the chorus behind you, booming closer, each step a countdown to disaster. Suddenly salvation. A split in the trees, a ravine, a narrow, rocky decline that smells like mold and maybe ancient regrets. You dive in, slide down a steep drop coated in loose gravel and the tears of smarter people. You reach the bottom, alive, barely. You look up. The Gorus is at the edge. It stares, not because it's scared of heights, but because it knows gravity does your work for it. It raises one foot and doesn't jump. Instead, it lets out that sound again. That deep, rattling boom of disapproval. A prehistoric Yelp review. Then it turns back into the trees, back into myth. You lie there, every cell buzzing with panic. You're scraped, bruised, and somehow more sunburned than before. And you've learned something critical. Don't wave at birds bigger than your worst mistake. They take it personally, and they respond with talons. You're walking now, mostly because running stopped being useful somewhere around the third predator encounter. You're sunburned, dehydrated, emotionally bankrupt, and one bad thought away from befriending a stick and naming it Todd. The horizon ripples. Heat waves? Hallucinations? A little of both. But then you see movement. A bird. Big. Too big. At first you hope it's just a mirage. A gentle dream conjured by your collapsing brain. But then it blinks. And mirages don't blink. It steps into view with the confidence of something that has never, ever lost a fight. It's 8 feet tall, maybe 9, covered in scraggly feathers that look less like insulation and more like ancient battle pennants. Its neck sways, not like a bird, like a snake that learned posture. It stares at you, not the way a predator stares at prey. No, this is different. This is appraisal, evaluation. You're being weighed by a creature with no arms and no mercy. Its name, not that it tells you, is Ginornis, an ancestor of the emu. If the emu had trained with gladiators and tasted man, you take a step back. It tilts its head. You whisper a prayer to anything listening, and it charges. You weren't expecting speed. You thought the size would slow it down. You thought wrong. Its legs move like pistons, feet pounding the ground with a rhythm that feels older than thunder. You sprint, but your body doesn't agree. Your body has bills to pay and trauma to process. It drags behind. You duck behind a fallen tree, breath wheezing like a broken accordion. The Ginornis stops. Not because it's confused, because it's amused. It walks slowly now, circling, each step deliberate. You hear feathers brushing against bark. You smell earth, sweat, and something faintly metallic. It knows where you are. It's just deciding how it wants this to end. You think of climbing a tree, then remember the snakes. You think of playing dead, then remember, this bird eats eggs. You are basically a snack with knees. So you do what any rational human would do. You throw Todd, the stick, your only companion. It sails through the air in a majestic, useless arc. The Ginornis watches it fall, then watches you, and cocks its head again. It lets out a sound. You don't know how to describe it. It's like a scream, filtered through stone, whispered by something that shouldn't have vocal cords. And suddenly, it stops, just stands there, staring, breathing. You don't move. Neither does it. There's something happening that you don't understand. A transaction, a judgment. You feel it in your molars, and then without warning it walks away. Just leaves. You don't feel relief. You feel seen, known, as if something deeper than instinct passed between you. You were not worth killing. Or maybe, not yet. You sink to your knees. The sun beats down like it's complicit. In the distance, you hear another bird call. Something higher pitched. Nervous. Something running. You almost feel bad for it. Almost. Then you remember where you are. Prehistoric Australia, where the birds have cosmic spite. And you are trespassing. The sun is gone. Good riddance. It's not like it helped. All it did was cook you alive from the outside in. Now the sky is bruised with stars, and you're finally starting to believe in mercy. You find a patch of dirt that isn't already claimed by teeth or stingers. You dig a pathetic little ditch with your hands. Call it a bed. You curl up like a discarded sandwich, wrapping your arms around your knees and whispering, "Just 1 hour. Just one." Then the screaming starts. It's not human. That's the worst part. You'd prefer a man with a spear or even a ghost. Instead, you get squawking. No, not squawking. More like a trumpet made of flesh and trauma. A cry that rattles your bones but somehow doesn't echo, as if the trees are too scared to carry the sound. You poke your head out of your leaf blanket. There, in the moonlight, is a shape. Feathers. But not nice feathers. These are ragged, greasy, blackened from dust and sweat and whatever dark ritual produces bush turkeys. You don't know how many there are. 5? 20? They multiply like hallucinations. Yellow eyes blink in the gloom, soulless and synchronized. They're circling something. You blink. No, they're circling nothing. A bare patch of dirt. No prey. No food. Just open space. And stomping. God. The stomping. Each bird takes turns thundering into the patch, flinging leaf litter, squawking into the night like they're calling something that lives under the ground. You want to call it mating, but that feels too polite. This is performance art. A chaos opera. It has rhythm, and absolutely no reason. You try to hide under the leaf again. You try plugging your ears, you try praying. The noise cuts through all of it. One turkey breaks formation and wanders too close. It sees you, freezes. You freeze. You both just stare. Its wattles wiggle slightly. You hear it breathe. It smells like warm compost and secrets. You consider making a noise. Something human. Something to reestablish the pecking order of the universe. It squawks instead. 3 more appear behind it. You are now the center of the circle. You've been chosen. They stomp again. Not at you. Not toward you. Just around you. They toss dirt and feathers, trample dead branches, scream into the air like they're summoning a fertility god who lives in an empty beer can. You try to crawl away. One blocks you. Not aggressively. Not even threatening. Just denies your exit. The others join in. Stomp. Squawk. Shuffle. Stomp. You're not sure how long it lasts. Time unravels. You stop being a person. You become a trembling leaf with fingernails. You think you hear chanting, or maybe that's your blood pressure collapsing. Then just as suddenly as it began, it ends. The turkeys scatter, not in fear, not in retreat, just done. As if the ritual concluded, and your presence was either a blessing or a complete non-event. One last turkey lingers, tilts its head, bobs twice, then sprints into the dark like it remembered an appointment. Silence. Real silence. Not peace exactly, but vacancy. You're still on the ground, still shaking. A single feather lands on your chest. You flick it away. It flutters, then catches the wind like it knows something you don't. You don't sleep. You don't even blink. You just lie there, trying to process the fact that you were the unwilling centerpiece of a prehistoric rave hosted by what amounts to demon chickens. In the distance, a dingo howls. You almost miss the turkeys already. Almost. The morning light doesn't rise gently. It sucker punches you in the eyes. You're curled beneath a stick and a leaf, still trembling from whatever that bush turkey seance was. You thought sleep would be safe. A mistake. You dreamed of chickens. Stupid, harmless chickens. Coop birds. Feathered comedians with popcorn brains. You wake up to a beak. Not a little beak. Not a peck-the-ground beak. A dagger, blue-black, sunlit, and pointed directly at your nose. You don't move. You don't breathe. You just blink. Slowly, hoping it's an illusion. It blinks back. One eye, then the other. Independently. Cassowary. You don't know its name yet, but your soul does. Some ancient part of your brain screams, that's not a bird. That's a relic. A surviving insult to evolution. A prehistoric missile with legs sculpted by vengeance. It's taller than you, and it hasn't even stood fully upright. Muscles like bundled steel cables twitch in its thighs. Its head looks dipped in war paint blue like bruises, red like blood, and topped with a horn that looks like it's ready to write your obituary into the earth. You try to inch back. It tilts its head. It is not confused. It is assessing. Its claws are the kind you'd expect on a velociraptor. Because they're cousins. Because everything in Australia is a memory from a time before mercy. That middle claw, the long one, could open your torso like a zipper. You try not to think about that. You try to think about happy things. Eggs, feathers, warm soup. It exhales. A low, guttural hiss. More beast than bird. You murmur something. Maybe hello. Maybe please. Your voice cracks like dry bark. It doesn't care. It steps closer. You flinch. It doesn't. The silence between you stretches out like wire. Tense. Invisible. One twitch, and it might snap. And when it does, the cassowary will move faster than your reflexes, your regrets, or your lungs. Its pupils contract. You feel your organs shuffle inside you. This is not a random encounter. You're in its territory. It's dirt. It's trees. It's sunrise. You are the one out of place. You consider throwing something. A rock, a stick, your dignity. But then what? It charges, it leaps. You've heard the legends now, of people disemboweled by birds, of runners overtaken, of gashes 6 inches deep left in seconds. This bird is not bluffing. It steps again. Your breath shudders. Then, it looks away. Not out of fear, not out of mercy. It just gets bored. You are unworthy of its energy. The cassowary lowers its head, makes a noise that sounds like a bass drum underwater, and struts off, slowly, like it owns every leaf, every beam of light, every second of your borrowed life. You stay frozen long after it disappears. The air smells different now, sharper. Your body finally unlocks. Your limbs ache. You are soaked in fierce sweat. The cassowary didn't attack you. This time, you try to stand. Your knees betray you. So you crawl, pathetic and grateful. Every rustle sounds like revenge. Every shadow looks like feathers. Your stomach growls. You're afraid the cassowary will hear it from across dimensions. You whisper to your gut to be quiet. You apologize to it for getting you into this. You climb a small hill, just to get your bearings. Far in the distance, something else moves through the trees. Too fast, too tall. You decide not to investigate. You make a note in your mind. Never trust a bird bigger than your anxiety. Never sleep again without someone keeping watch. Never assume Australia is done trying to kill you. The cassowary is gone, but the message lingers. You are a visitor here, and the locals are difficult. The sun does not rise. It ambushes you. It doesn't warm. It scorches. You don't greet the morning, you survive it. Barely. Your skin has already given up cracked, dry, whispering prayers to any passing breeze. But there is no breeze. The air is thick, motionless, and heavy with menace, like the world itself has stopped breathing. You blink. It hurts. Everything is glowing too brightly, like someone turned the brightness up on reality and forgot how to turn it back down. You look for shade. There is none. Not real shade. Just the cruel illusion of it under spiny bushes that sting, or trees that drop sap hot enough to blister skin. You know because you tried. Your arm is still throbbing. You crouch beneath what might be a rock overhang. It radiates heat like a furnace. The ground underneath is soft, almost melting. You touch it and yank your hand back. It's not sand anymore. It's slow-cooked regret. You take a breath. That was a mistake. The air sears your lungs, like inhaling through a mouthful of sunburn. You try to wet your lips. There's no saliva left. Your tongue feels like a rag someone used to clean ash. You were sweating hours ago. Now your body has nothing left to give. It's conserving. It's panicking. You are a walking piece of jerky. The temperature? You don't know the exact number. Somewhere north of 115 degrees Fahrenheit, if your soul's thermometer is still working. That's in the shade. And you are not in the shade. You are under the full, unrelenting glare of a sun that wants you gone. You squint toward the horizon. It shimmers like a hallucination. Trees blur, rocks warp. Even your own fingers look like they're swimming. You're not sure if you're actually seeing things or if things are seeing you. Your brain starts peeling away from logic. Heat does that. Makes everything seem suspicious. The trees are breathing. The dirt pulses. You hear your name whispered in the sound of cicadas. Except cicadas don't say names. Or do they? You have to move. Somewhere. Anywhere. Your feet slide forward. The ground sticks to them. Every step peels off a layer of dignity. Your shadow trails behind, like it's trying to escape too. You reach what might be a creek bed. It's dry. It hasn't seen water since the Pleistocene. You dig anyway, desperate, fingernails full of dust. You don't even find dampness, just fossils of disappointment and sun-baked insect corpses. Your body protests. Knees buckle. You drop to the dirt and try to breathe in small sips, like that'll trick your lungs into patience. You look at the sun again. Big mistake. It glares down, smug and nuclear, like it owns the place, which it does. You are not made for this. You're a mammal. A pink, fragile, slow-cooking mammal with no claws, no fangs, no venom, and at the moment no water. You can't dig burrows. You can't shed heat through your skin fast enough. You're a walking soup packet in a biome that boils things for fun. Even the animals know better than to be out right now. They've vanished, buried, hidden, evolved smarter strategies than stand here and roast. You try to mimic them, lying flat on your stomach, arms splayed, cheek pressed to the ground in the hope it's even a fraction of a degree cooler. It is not. You wonder if this is how it ends. Not by fangs or claws, but by dehydration. Cooked like a forgotten sausage in the world's cruelest frying pan. A bug crawls past your nose. You don't swat it. You're too tired. And it's probably venomous anyway. Your body starts to hum. Not from energy, but from failure. The kind of hum that says, you might want to lie down and never get up again. You think of water. Cold water. You hallucinate ice. A lake. A soda can. Then the vision speaks. It's your own voice, telling you to move or die. So, you crawl. Not because you believe it'll help, but because giving up would take effort. Your brain has melted, your skin is a cautionary tale, and the sun, still watching, still winning. Welcome to Australia, where nature doesn't just want you dead, It wants you well done. You hear it before you see it. A low rumble across the horizon. Thunder, maybe, or stampeding beetles. Either way, it means rain. A rare miracle in this furnace of a land. You smile barely. You think, maybe, just maybe, this will save you. It doesn't. The sky opens with a hiss, not a roar. The rain falls like heated needles. Every drop lands sharp and fast, drilling into the dry, cracked earth and kicking up the scent of long-dead plants and old secrets. You tilt your head back and let it hit your face. Relief for half a second. Then something chirps. The sound is wrong. It's wet and mocking. You freeze. And then you hear more of them. Not one, not 10, hundreds. It starts with the chorus guttural croaks that seem to rise from every crevice of the soaked land. Bushes belch, mud burps. The puddle beside you gurgles like it's giving birth to something you won't like. And then they emerge. Frogs. So many frogs. They boil out of the ground like they've been waiting for this. Waiting for you. Glossy eyes, bloated throats, slick skins in hues that do not belong on friendly animals. Red, blue, highlighter green, radioactive yellow. Some are small enough to perch on your thumb. Others could wear your shoe. One hops toward you with the confidence of a predator. You back away. It keeps coming. It blinks. You blink back. Then another leaps onto your leg. It sticks. Its underbelly feels wrong. Cold and waxy. You try to shake it off, and that's when it licks you. You freeze. Because that wasn't just contact. That was deliberate. That was premeditated amphibian assault. And you suddenly realize something's not right inside your head. The colors shift. The rain becomes purple. The frogs grow antlers. You are hallucinating. And the worst part is, you know exactly why. This isn't just any frog. This is Litoria caerulea, or maybe Rhinella marina, or maybe something worse, an extinct species that missed the memo. Either way, it's the kind of frog ancient Australians learned not to touch. Not because they'll bite, but because their skin is a pharmacy of pain. Secretions laced with alkaloids, toxins, maybe even mild psychedelics. This isn't fantasy. This is chemistry. And now it's inside you. You drop to your knees. The ground ripples. The frogs are circling. One sings. It sounds like a funeral dirge for your sanity. Your vision tilts sideways. The trees are bending toward you. The rain becomes voices. The frogs gods. Your skin starts to buzz. Not metaphorically, literally. Like your nerves are being played like a harp. You scratch at your arms and feel your fingers stretching, becoming webbed. No, that's not real. Or is it? You crawl under a tree that smells like bleach and ozone. A frog follows. It perches on a rock, watches. You swear it's grinning. 6 hours. That's how long it lasts. At some point, time stops mattering. Your body drips with confusion. You cry. You laugh. You make eye contact with a passing beetle and feel understood. When it finally breaks, the sky is darker, the frogs are gone, and you're alone in the mud with a headache that tastes like metal. Your lips are cracked from mumbling to invisible spirits. Your clothes are soaked. Your soul feels wrung out. You don't stand up so much as you uncurl. Everything aches. You want to scream, but the last time you screamed, the frogs clapped. You check your leg. A faint rash marks the spot where it licked you, like a souvenir, like a warning. You limp away. But the ground squishes wrong under your feet now. You no longer trust it, or yourself, or the rain. Because in prehistoric Australia, salvation comes with venom, relief comes with fangs, and rain. Rain brings frogs. Frogs bring madness. And you bring snacks. You've gone too long without water. Your lips are cracked. Your tongue is a memory. The sun has peeled your skin into something brittle and pink and angry. You haven't seen a stream in days. If there was dew this morning, it evaporated before you blinked. The eucalyptus trees don't care. The dirt doesn't care. The sky mocks you with a smear of blue too deep to trust. You do what any desperate mammal would do. You dig. At first, it's just dust. Dry, soft, and strangely warm as if it remembers fire. You keep going. Deeper, clawing with your hands because you lost whatever tools you had back in the snake incident. Your nails fill with grit. Your knuckles bleed. You convince yourself that moisture must live just beneath the surface. All the documentaries said so. You were wrong. Your hand strikes something hard. Hope flares for a heartbeat. Maybe a buried spring, a pocket of sweet groundwater, a miracle in fossilized form. It twitches. You yank your hand back, just as the earth opens a little wider, and two black, glassy eyes blink up at you from the hole you just made. They belong to a spider. Not a cute garden spider, not a passive web weaver, but something older, hairier, with fangs that look forged in a furnace. The trapdoor spider rises. It doesn't scurry. It emerges, like it's been waiting. Its legs unfold slow and deliberate, like a mechanism built to punish curiosity. Its body is the size of your fist. Its abdomen pulses like a heartbeat. You don't scream this time. You've learned. Screaming wastes moisture. You back away. Slowly. That's when the scorpion arrives. Not from the same hole. This one comes from behind, because Australia likes to layer its gifts. It climbs onto your foot, all pincers and posture, and it doesn't leave. It settles in like it paid rent. You freeze. This is Urodacus yashinkoi, or maybe one of its larger extinct cousins. Pale yellow, thick tail. The kind of tail that doesn't bluff. This one doesn't look angry. It looks contemplative, like it's weighing your sins. You stay still. You stay silent. The spider stares from its burrow. The scorpion drums its claws against your ankle. A fly lands on your nose. You flinch. Mistake. The scorpion reacts. It doesn't sting. Not yet. But it raises its tail, slow and deliberate, like a question mark made of malice. You've never prayed to a scorpion before, but you consider it offerings, apologies, whatever it wants. You slowly lower your foot, hoping it will dismount. It does not. Instead, it begins to clean itself. With your skin still beneath it, you are now furniture. The spider, meanwhile, hasn't moved, but it hasn't gone back into its hole either. It's just present, watching, with that uncanny stillness that makes you wonder if time has stopped or if you're the one being paused. You think about digging elsewhere. You think about never digging again. You consider dehydration. You reconsider hydration. Then something else stirs just beneath your original hole. A rustle, a shift. You glimpse a third thing. This one you don't recognize. It has too many legs. Or maybe not enough. It might not even be an animal. It could be the earth itself deciding you've had enough. You step back. The scorpion leaps off finally, as if insulted by your indecision. It scuttles into the dark with a whisper of sand and vanishes. The spider drops. It disappears into its lidless grave, leaving no trace behind, like it never existed, like it was part of the test. You stare at the hole you dug. No water, just warnings. The ground in prehistoric Australia doesn't give. It waits. It remembers. And if you're foolish enough to ask it for mercy, it might just answer with fangs, stingers, and silence. You walk away, thirstier than before. The air shifts. Not a breeze, not a breeze. A presence, dry and ancient and full of judgment. It rolls across the land like it owns it, because it does, scraping the red dirt into the sky, lifting it high enough to blot out the sun. There is no warning. One moment you're squinting into the horizon, trying to convince yourself that shimmer is water. The next, your lungs are coated in grit, and your skin stings like it's being peeled by ghosts. Welcome to a sandstorm. But this isn't your cartoon, tumbleweed-style sandstorm. No cinematic swelling strings, no slow-mo running into shelter. There is no shelter. The trees are more threat than help. The rocks are occupied. And the holes in the ground? You've already learned what lives there. So you crouch. You turn your back to the wind, like it makes a difference. You wrap your arms around your head, like that's armor. It's not. The wind laughs in grit. It carries the voices of a continent that does not want you here. It throws the land in your face. Tiny grains needle your cheeks. Larger ones bounce off your skull. The sky vanishes into a choking red haze that smells like burnt metal and decay. You try to blink, but the dust glues your eyelids. You try to breathe through your shirt, but your shirt's already soaked in sweat, and sweat is just a magnet for dirt in Australia. Eventually, the storm moves on. It never stops. It just gets bored with you. And when it goes, it doesn't apologize. It leaves everything worse. The sky is still bruised. The horizon is still a threat. And you're just dust in a new shape. Your mouth tastes like scorched rust. Your eyelashes feel sandpapered. Your shoulders are raw, where grit scraped through your skin like a memory that won't leave. You think it's over. But then the temperature changes. It's subtle at first, a shimmer in the distance, a pressure behind your eyes. Then comes the crack. Not from above, but from within the air itself. Heat bursts, not lightning, not thunder, just heat. So much of it, so quickly, that the plants around you exhale smoke. The rocks radiate like ovens. Your sweat doesn't even get a chance to form. It just exits your body as despair. You are being slow cooked. You stumble toward the shade of a low, thorn-covered bush. It's not shade. It's a lie. The bush is a jimpy, a plant that stings so badly people have tried to kill themselves to escape the pain. You don't touch it. You remember the whispers. You remember the hallucinations. You remember that even the flora out here holds a grudge against mammalian arrogance. And then, a sound. Soft. Insistent. Wrong. A laugh. But not the warm kind. Not human. It's the unmistakable cry of a kookaburra, Australia's feathered comedian, and it sounds like it just watched you eat dirt and wants an encore. You look up. There it is, perched on a twisted branch like an omen with feathers, head cocked, beady eyes full of malice or mirth. You can't tell. Its call crescendos into something manic, guttural, joyful, in the cruelest way. You are not in on the joke. You are the joke. It keeps laughing. You stare. The bird does not blink. A gust of wind whips more dust across your face. You cough. You wipe your eyes. The kookaburra is gone. But the laugh echoes through the heat, through the haze, through your very bones. You realize the landscape isn't just hostile. It's aware. It's sentient. Not in a mystical way, in a biological one. Everything here has adapted to outlast you, to test you, to mock you. Even the wind, even the birds, even the land beneath your blistered feet. You are not a visitor here. You are prey. You curl into yourself. Not to sleep that's long past, just to rest, to wait, to let the wind decide what happens next. It whispers something unintelligible into your ear, not in words. But you understand. You don't belong. You fall. Not dramatically. Not with purpose. Just a slow, sagging surrender into the dust. Your legs give up first. Knees buckle, spine folds, and your face meets the ground like it's been calling your name for hours. It has. The earth here whispers, not sweet nothings, but ancient warnings baked into every grain. You didn't listen. Now you're part of the landscape, half buried, half conscious, all done. You lie there, breathing shallow and broken, waiting for the end. It doesn't come. Instead, the dirt gets curious. Something moves across your back. It isn't heavy. It's worse light. Feather light. Deliberate. Like fingers made of legs. Too many legs. You hold still, not from bravery, but from pure system failure. Muscles offline. Hope discontinued. Your entire nervous system has staged a walkout and left you to the mercy of whatever's crawling along your spine. You feel the pause. Whatever it is, it stops mid-back. You feel it raise itself slightly, like it's surveying the landscape of your body, deciding where to strike first. You want to scream. You don't. Screaming would mean effort. Screaming would mean accepting that you're still in this. You are. You hate that you are. The creature continues its pilgrimage across your shoulder, then it vanishes, not into the brush, but into you. Down your collar, into your shirt. You go cold, not because it's cold, but because your body finally understands something your mind didn't. Australia doesn't let you quit. It lets you almost quit. It lets you want to quit. But then it reminds you. The animals don't stop. The heat doesn't stop. The landscape doesn't stop. So you don't either. You roll. Slowly. Like the earth is made of knives. Your shoulder grinds against pebbles in regret. Your face turns to the side and lands in an anthill. Of course, you don't even flinch. They swarm your cheek, your lips, your eyelids. You are now part of their commute. You sit up. No fanfare. No music. Just a tired mammal peeling itself off the surface of a continent that wants to be alone. Your hands are shaking. You taste blood. You blink, and the horizon blinks back. Nothing out here wants to save you. But nothing's killed you yet either. That's something. You look down at your arm. Scratched. Burned. Bits of bug stuck to your skin. You don't care. You're upright. That's a victory now. You start walking. No destination, just motion. Just one foot in front of the other, because stopping invites teeth. Above you, the kookaburra laughs again. Or maybe it's a new one. You don't look. You don't flip it off. You don't have the energy to be petty. Not anymore. You pass a log. It hisses. You don't check what it is. You pass a bush. It pulses like it's breathing. You keep walking. You step in something wet. You don't ask why. You don't want the answer. Australia keeps throwing things at you, and somehow you keep dodging. Not gracefully, not heroically, just stubbornly, like a blister that won't pop, like a thought that refuses to be silenced. Your vision blurs again. Not from hallucinations this time, from tears. Not because you're sad, because some small part of you, the part that still remembers comfort and weather forecasts and snack breaks, thought giving up would be peaceful. It's not. It's just hot and itchy and full of creatures that think your armpit smells like lunch. You reach a ridge. You crawl up. You don't look back. There's nothing worth seeing back there. Just your dignity, scattered in bite marks and sweat puddles. You crest the hill. The view doesn't reward you. It's just more Australia. But you squint through the heat haze, plant your feet in the angry dust, and whisper the stupidest thing you've ever said out loud. I'm not done yet. And for one quiet moment, the wind stops. The birds go still. The spiders hold their breath. Like even the continent is surprised. You're still here. And somehow, that matters.